Okay. So, uh, this is my first time actually going live. I've always done recorded videos and then edit them and post them. Uh, so, this is new for me. I also figured because, hi Jeff, um, I figured because I'm not doing anything this Saturday, I might as well just wing it, you know? So here we are. And I, I wanted to go over a few topics. Like the first one would be in regards to my blog. Um, I'm not quite sure if anyone's read it. Well, on my YouTube channel, that is. Um, and so I was just I was just going to read through it, um, and then I wanted to mm, cover the self therapy for the stutter. This book helped me a ton when I was in high school and just changed my life. Um, so this I definitely want to go over. And then lastly, I wanted to cover over some questions and debunk some myths. So, and we will start with the blog first. And as a refresher, it's called the Stuttering Lion, as well as my YouTube channel. Easy to remember. Okay, so my very first post, the title says, I wasn't always a lion. And I posted this in August 29th of 2017. So it's definitely been quite a few years. Um, okay. Um, Here we go. I am starting this blog because I want to tell you the beginning of my story. The story about what it is like growing up with a speech impediment. To start from the beginning, I remember the first time I was laughed at was during my English class in sixth grade. These two boys that I sat next to asked me to say, the cat is in the bag. I remember trying to play it cool and asking why. They then kept asking, and so I tried. I stuttered terribly, and one of the boys said, see, I told you she can't talk. I began to cry right then and there, but I wouldn't tell the teacher on them. I kept it in and decided in that moment to stay strong. Now, I would like to mention that, well, first, please let me know if you can hear me. I think that's an important factor. So Jeff, just type down there and please tell me. Um, it would be very, very nice of you. Okay. Because I'm pretty sure you can hear me, but I don't know for certain. Okay, Jeff, I'm waiting on you. Oh well. Uh, ooh, Italy. Hola. I know that's not. It's similar to Spanish. I know that. Um, but here, let me look up something. Uh, okay. Ciao. I am sorry. I totally butchered that. Not hola. Ciao. Thank you. Ooh, okay. Um. So, for Aurora, um, I am wanted to cover um my blog that I wrote regarding my stutter. Um, and so I'll just go to the next paragraph. And please, if you have any questions regarding stuttering or my life or I don't know, anything that you come up with, you just write in there and I'll answer. Okay. The bars in front of the lion, there's a picture um, of a lion in a cage. Let me just. Okay. Jeff, do you think stuttering is a physical or mental problem? Okay. So, mm, I would say, mm, I want to say a mental problem. Um, I, but in regards to anxiety, um, the reason I say this is because it's something that I believe can be like fixed in a way, um, but um, it takes a lot to break away from expectations of society. For example, a, a lot of people in the US expect you to speak fluently, right? And so when you don't, then most people will stop talking to you, will avoid you, um, and and will just kind of pretend that you're not there. Um, and so if you can jump over multiple obstacles uh, mentally, then I believe that one could speak more fluently. Um, it's just it, it takes a lot of work to no longer focus on what other people say about you and just don't care. Because when you don't care about what other people think, then there won't be any anxiety regarding stuttering. Um, so that's my answer. It's kind of all over the place. So I hope that answers that. And then Aurora, sorry for my bad English. Don't worry about it. And, and in fact, I think more people should speak Italian or French or German. And I don't think everyone should solely be focused on English. So don't worry about it. But you say, I would like to know when did you start to stutter? So I didn't begin to speak until I was around 5 years old. Um, and and from then on, I just always had a difficulties speaking fluently. And when I was a child, my stutter was pretty severe, um, to the point where it would take me 5 minutes and more just to say a few words. Um, and so I'd have to say around that time because um, I really didn't talk a lot. And then when I would try to, I would have speech blocks where it's basically, okay, for example, when you want to sneeze, but you can't, right? You want to, but you just can't. That's how it is with speech blocks. So you want to say the word, but nothing's coming out. Um, and uh, and so that just refrained me from talking or practicing speaking, which is pretty bad for a kid, because we have to practice in order to know how to communicate. And if we don't have that, then we can't talk functionally. Okay, Jeff, do you have any family members or friends who stutter? Okay, family members? No. Nobody in my entire family. But my father is adopted. Um, we know more about his biological parent, mom, but nothing regarding the dad. So I don't know if they stutter. I have no idea, which kind of sucks. um, yeah, but any friends? Um, let's see. I've met four four people um, with my whole life that stutter, um, and I'm 26. Okay, so that's not many people, obviously. But my most recent friend, he's working to become a speech pathologist, and he stutters, but but mm, surprisingly, I'm the first person he's ever met besides his family that also stutters, uh, which is which is so crazy in my mind because he's like 30, right? And so if I'm the first person he's ever met that stutters besides his family, because um, all of his uh, brothers and his dad stutters. Um, that's it's a weird weird thing to me, honestly. But it is what it is, I guess. Okay, Aurora, beautiful name, by the way. Um, do you have bad days and good days, or it just depends on anxiety, etc.? Well, that's the thing. Um, in one of my videos, my topic is a stutter is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So it's it's basically the same with a stutter, right? Um, one day um, I could be more fluent. I could be uh, really out, outgoing because of my fluency, and then the next day it could be super bad. Um, I, to where I would only be able to say a few words um, at a time, and honestly, it sucks because um, every time that I do stutter worse, it it, it really takes a toll on my self-esteem, because it like regulates my mood essentially, uh, and just hard. Um, Jeff, wow, you've met a few people who stutter. Yeah, it's super isolating. And I'm very sensitive about this topic, so you might see some tears. Um, I know, silly. But yeah, it's hard. Especially as a kid, you try. No, look, um, you're not upsetting me. Um, it's just the stutter is a sensitive topic for me. Just because it's it's how I communicate. It's how people look at me. It's um, it's um, how I get a job or not. Um, there there are so many factors, and so yeah, it's gonna be personal to me. So don't worry about making me cry. I'm already an emotional person, so don't don't stress about it. Uh, but let's see. Um, Aurora, how does stutter influence your social life? Oh, well, making friends for one. Um, I especially in group settings, it's very hard uh, to talk when there's a lot of loud noises. Um, so, with that being said, it makes it more difficult to talk. I mean, yeah, sure, I can listen, but I've listened my whole life. Um, uh, and um, and sure, listening is good, but it's also important to be heard. Um, and then when you're trying to find a job, uh, depending on how fluent I am, um, it could mean whether I get a job or or if I don't. Because let's say I I have an interview for tomorrow, right? I don't know how my stutter is going to be, um, and if it's bad, my chances of getting that job are very slim. So uh, that's that's how it influences my social life. Um, Aurora, your voice is so relaxing and calm. Thank you. I appreciate it. Jeff, thank you. Um, are there certain situations where you stutter less or more if you are more comfortable? Yes, definitely. Um, that's why I said before that I think stuttering is a mental problem, um, because it is possible for me to speak fluently, and that normally happens when I'm very calm. Um, and for example, when I got my wisdom teeth out, and I was given like those drugs, right, uh, to put me under, and I was completely fluent. And and if I was completely fluent, then that would indicate that I have the possibility to speak fluently. It's just how how to do that without being on drugs, obviously. So um, I I do get more comfortable when I know that nobody is going to judge me, or nobody is going to interrupt me, or speak for me. Um, like, like let's say they already know what I'm going to say, and then they just uh, say the word that I was wanting to communicate. Um, and it, factors like that, if nobody is going to judge me and I fully trust them, then I'm going to speak more easy. However, um, I like the chocolates. Um, Even if I am very comfortable with somebody, I could still be saying a few words at a time. Um, but it just you you never really know. Um, Jeff, what job are you entering for? Do you let them know that you stutter beforehand? Well, the example I gave for the 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 interview, um, that was just like a scenario that I was giving. Um, I already work for a company, and I'm a registered behavioral technician. So I work with kids who have behaviors, and I help them um, manage their emotions in a calm manner. I also teach them life skills and and basically prepare them for school. Um, like an elementary teacher, before uh, before the kids actually go to school, in a way. But there's a lot of tantrums, lots of screaming. Um, you know, so it's a lot of work. Okay. Um, and do you let them know that you stutter beforehand? Um, Sometimes. Um, it really depends on my mood. You know, like if I'm having more of a rough day, then I will. I tell them, but if it's like a neutral day, then I probably won't. Um, I should definitely tell them, but I'm just kind of stubborn. Um, okay, Aurora, do you stutter if you are reading out loud? Sometimes, yeah. Excuse me. I am recovering from um, some type of sickness that my kids gave me. Um, Here, for example, I will just read a part from self-therapy for stutterers. So you can have an idea on what I sound like when I stutter. Okay, let me find a good chapter first. I mean, they're all good chapters, but um, okay. Um, Here we are on page 27. The like little heading is your determination. There is no easy road to fluency. For therapy to accomplish its purpose, it will take determination. It is necessary for you to have the courage to confront your stuttering head on and undertake assignments, which will require a lot of work and probably a lot of embarrassment. Very true. Um, is more fluent speech worth the effort which you must go through to produce it? That is up to you. Actually, the embarrassment you experience will help reduce the sensitivity, which makes your stuttering worse. And becoming less sensitive to your difficulty will make it easier for you to retain sufficient presence of mind to carry through on the recommended procedures. So there's there's that. And that's typically um, how I read out loud. And may I add, um, um, one thing that I have found that definitely helps my speech is by reading out loud. Um, I think it's because it gives me practice to to talk aloud, um, to say sentences out loud. Whereas normally I just listen. Um, and I think that's probably a really good way to practice talking. Um, Jeff, wow, that's interesting. Some people don't stutter when they sing. Um, yes, in fact, when somebody sings, they use a different part of their brain than when they talk. Um, so uh, it would seem like there would be a correlation between that, but they're a little different. Um, and a lot of people um, have that idea um, that if a person who stutters can sing, then they can they can also be fluent, and it's not entirely wrong, but um, if if we lived in a play and and everyone would sing, then I don't think there would be any people who stutter, but we don't. And anyone that does sing in public, like when they order food, you'd kind of be seen as weird. So, funny thought. Um, and do you stutter around your family? Are they supportive? I do stutter around my family, yeah. Um, though I stutter less with my husband. Um, why? I I don't really know. Um, I don't know why, but it's just how it is, I guess. Um, In Italy, we call your job edu, educatrice or educatrice. I'm sorry, Aurora. I am probably ruining the pronunciation. Um, Jeff, your stutter almost disappears when you were reading. Yep. Sometimes, always depends on the day. Um, are there some words you can't say at all? Well, definitely, S words are very challenging for me. Like when I was a missionary for my church, um, I went by sister and then my last name, which started with an S, and we would have to introduce ourselves, right? Um, and there was one time when my stutter was more severe, and it took me like 10 minutes just to say sister, and then my last name with an S. So me and S words are not particularly friends, but I can't avoid them. I I have to push through, or else the fear of saying S words will just increase. Um, um, Maybe you feel more comfortable around your husband? Yeah, yeah, I suppose so. Um, like when we first uh, began to talk, we would talk for hours. It was the most I've I've ever talked with anybody. It was so strange and awesome at the same time. You know, like he's uh, Ukrainian, um, and and there was never once where he interrupted me. He was just outstandingly patient, and it was remarkable for me. You know, it was so strange because for so many years of my life, I would always have to prepare myself when meeting a new person, uh, um, just because I wasn't sure how they would react to my stutter. But him, it was so cool. Um, so, Jeff, introductions are so anxiety inducing. They are, yeah. Like, um, for me, I I normally don't get nervous when meeting new people. However, um, I do become more concerned about how the new person will react when they hear my stutter, and so I definitely believe that induces more anxiety. Not necessarily how I talk, but how it will be recepted. Um, Jeff, that's great that you found someone. Yeah, it's really cool. Um, yeah, we were actually in a long distance relationship for 3 years. He was in another country, and I was here in the U.S. But as well. Um, okay. Was this in Georgia? No, no. I'm trying not to give like too much information, you know. Uh, but he was living in Eastern Europe, and then I in the U.S. No, no, it's okay, Jeff. Don't worry. It's just I've had a stalker once, uh, and that was awful. So I don't want to like uh, make myself vulnerable to any creepy people. Not saying that you're creepy. not saying, not just when this video gets uploaded, you know. Um, so, anyways, um, I, he was in um, Eastern Europe. I was in the U.S. We were in a long distance relationship, 3 years, right? And then in 2020, we're like, okay, we are done waiting, and we wanted to meet up again. But then COVID hit, and we weren't able to visit each other in our different countries. So we waited months, and we're like, screw it, let's just meet in another country. And that's what we did. So we both met up in